All right, so this past week at our virtual church that we've been attending, which is super weird, but we're getting through it, Pastor Matt challenged everybody to post a video online about, I guess, their life before, during, and after coming to know Christ. It's super tough for me, I think for Jenae as well. We don't really like doing this kind of thing, so we'll see how it goes. But it's, recently, probably in the past month, we've both been kind of challenged to do something like this 3 times. So we figured, why not? We'll give it a shot. So here goes.
Okay, I'll go first. Okay, so my life before Christ never really existed, I guess. I was raised in a very strong Christian household. My parents raised us as if Jesus were one of us. So growing up, I always knew who Jesus was, and I always believed that Jesus was who they said he was. My struggle really began when I went to college, and I started questioning kind of who I am and what is my identity. I was always kind of known as being like the good girl in high school, and so whenever I went to college, I was dead set on not being her anymore, and I kind of built my life and built myself around parties and alcohol and boys, and that was just never fulfilling. And I went through college just trying to find fulfillment in that for years, but it just never filled the void in my life. I was let down by friends. I always had friends to go party with, but when times got tough, I always felt like I just really didn't have a whole lot of friends that were there. I was let down by boys, and then one time in particular, I was betrayed by my college boyfriend, and he was unfaithful, and it just broke my heart to the core. And I think that that is when my perspective of God kind of changed, because that was really probably the first time in my life that I just really cried out, and I just really needed help more than what I could do on my own. But through that healing process, I also kind of turned my back on Christ, because whenever I decided to rebuild my life and rebuild myself and rebuild my heart, I rebuilt it on a foundation of hatred and grudges and just things of the devil and not things of Christ. And I always knew that Christ had pulled me out of that darkness that I was in, but I was not really ready to give up how I had rebuilt myself. It was easy to rebuild myself on those negative things. But I really feel like that my perspective of who Christ is and what Christ can do was shifted drastically this fall. I can't do this. I'm gonna have to edit this part out. Okay. My perspective on who Christ is and what Christ can do was really shifted this fall. In August, we found out that we were pregnant. In September, we found out that there was no heartbeat. And then in October, we found out that it was not just a miscarriage, but a molar pregnancy, which only happens 1 in 1,000 pregnancies. And what happened in our case was that my egg had no DNA, and so when Braden's DNA started replicating, instead of forming a baby inside me, it started to form a tumor. So, which resulted in a 6-month period of getting my blood drawn and having it tested to see if that tumor was cancerous or not. I think I had my blood drawn probably 9 times. And before all of this, I had never had my blood drawn. I looked for every answer as to why. Like I said, I had my blood drawn for checking for like HCG, and then I had my thyroid checked, I had my liver checked, I had my kidney checked, and every test that they did came back completely normal. There was no reason why. And that was just kind of very hard for me, because I always have to know why. I need answers. But my perspective started to change from God is just and God is punishing me and I deserve this because of all my sins, to God is giving me a gift of time. And that gift of time kind of came like to full, like, what would you call it? Kind of came to light in our chance to go to a walk to Emmaus, at least for me. That's where the light switch really just clicked on for me, with my life for Christ. My final thoughts as I was sitting there, like thinking about how my whole life I had known Christ and I had known about Christ, but did I really know Christ and did I really have a relationship with Christ? Like, no. And my final thoughts in that moment were that, like, I have no answers. There are no earthly answers for me right now. But that, like, God should not have had to die for the hatred and the anger and the grudges that I held in my heart. And that I was one of the people in the crowd screaming, "Crucify him," because of the choices that I had made and what I had put inside of my heart. And for the first time in my life, like, my heart broke for my sins and what I had done. And it just, like I said, it wasn't God punishing me, it was God bringing me home. My life after the light switch moment, it has not been perfect. There still is disappointment and there's still letdown, but I have a much better relationship with God, and that I can go to him and I can tell him that I'm disappointed and that I'm sad, and it's easier now, I guess, that, like, I can express those things and it's easier for me to work through. I'm more at ease with his plan for my life. I don't necessarily love it, but I am at ease with it and I am starting to accept it more. And I'm not on a search for answers as to why or when or how anymore. And I guess that is where we are today. Braden, take it away.
Okay. Well, let's see. So my story, I guess, starts out very similar to Janae's. My parents, we went to church, not every Sunday, but almost every Sunday in Sunday school, and went to Wednesday nights youth groups at different churches in town. I mean, I loved doing all of it. It was good. It was fun. So I've known who Jesus was for a long time. I was baptized, trying to remember, fairly young. I mean, I think 10 to 12 years old, we got baptized, but that certainly doesn't mean that I've been perfect since then. I guess throughout junior high and high school and then even into college, just kind of doing my own thing, what I wanted to do, drinking a lot, having fun. I mean, definitely not living the best life I should have been. I don't know. After, I guess that was, leading up to, and then after college, and, I think I started to take Christ a lot more serious, I guess is the way to put it. A lot more aware of my actions and what was going on or what I was doing. I never had this big aha moment with coming to know Jesus. I mean, I can remember the first time I ever really felt him working in my life at a young age, but then it was always, that was the first time I ever really felt Christ touch, put his hand on me and affect my life was probably in junior high at a church camp retreat. I can still remember it to this day. I don't remember much about the camp except for, worship service one night where it was really impactful on me. But then, as life went on, just fall back into the same old routine of, doing what I wanted to do and not being leading the life a good Christian should live. A really big point in my life, though, was like Jenae said, when we had our miscarriage, was a big eye-opening experience, I guess, for both of us. I guess it was that point in my life where I realized that there's a lot of things that I can't control. In that, I've never had a whole lot of experiences in life where I didn't have control, so it was just a real eye-opening experience that, I need help. I need help through this life. And, since then, we have a small group that we meet with every Wednesday. And we talk about what we're going through. We talk about, what we talked about in church on Sunday, and it's been a huge blessing to my life. I look forward to it. I still struggle daily with sin, with words I say, with, thoughts that I think. I mean, it's always a battle, but, I have faith and I trust in Jesus that he's going to lead me in the right direction if I just trust in him and have a solid relationship with him, which I work on every day. So, I don't know, I guess that's kind of our stories. This has kind of been a long video. If you're still here with us, I'm impressed.
Thank you.
I just encourage you on Sunday mornings. We meet on the interweb for church.
First Baptist Rockdale.
Ask me about it or whatever. It's on YouTube. It's a good time. Me and Jenae sing in the living room and we sound terrible, but that's okay because no one can hear us. And we listen to Matt bring the message.
And we challenge you to also get out and tell your story, whether it's a light switch moment like mine or gradually growing into it like Braden's. Your story can impact lots of people.
Thanks.